Hey guys, welcome back to Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. He's Hawkeye. I'm Honeycutt. She's Hot Lips. No, wait, she's Radar. I'm Father Mulcahy. He's Colonel Blake. No, we're not MASH. We're still Vikings Report. Drewster, how you doing?
Yeah, welcome everybody to. Damn, it's been so long since we did a show. What episode are we on?
We're on episode 18, brother.
18. We did the live draft and we did the live after draft. 2 live shows in a row, so I was a little bit confused on where we are. Welcome everybody to episode 18. Thank you once again for all the support and everybody subscribing to our show.
Toonses, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, but why did you change me from Hot Lips to Radar? I kind of wanted to stay Hot Lips.
If you remember the MASH, Radar was the person that kind of had the whole camp, kept the whole camp together. I mean, you had Hawkeye and Honeycutt and Colonel Potter and all those guys, but if it wasn't for Radar, that camp would have literally fallen apart. So you're like our Radar O'Reilly, Corporal Captain.
That's a new directive from the Pentagon, Colonel. That's right out of G2 and G3, making a G5 combined officers OPTEC glitch. Experimenting with a new rank, Corporal Captain.
I accept that answer.
Woo!
And everyone thinks I dodged a bullet.
Radar was the only guy that played in both the movie. Remember, they took it from the movie over to the TV show.
Yeah.
MASH was a hell of a record setter. MASH was 256 episodes, 11 seasons. The last episode was shot in 83, and at the time when that episode came out, it was the most watched TV event in history.
Yeah, it was. I remember
everything.
2-hour finale. Yeah,
surpassing the Super Bowl. The rating. As a matter of fact, to this day, that last episode, that finale episode, is the #1 rated. 77% of America watched that show that night. There's only 2 characters that played in all 256 episodes. Who were they, Ted?
It would have been Hawkeye and Radar. Hawkeye and Radar then.
No.
Oh, wasn't Radar?
Radar left a season early. It was Hawkeye and Loretta Swit with the big
Hot Lips.
With the big hairdo.
Oh.
Loretta Swit. She and Alan Alda were the only 2 that did every single episode.
You know, and think about that. Like when good TV shows lose important main characters, the show usually tanks. But think about how many great characters left that show and it still thrived. Like Henry Blake got replaced by Colonel Potter. Show went on. Trapper John got replaced by BJ Honeycutt. Frank Pierce got replaced by Major Winchester. And the show, it didn't skip a beat. It was the most phenomenal writing and acting in a television series I can still remember.
Henry Blake, McLean Stevenson, was one of the most loved characters on TV. He was. When he played Henry Blake, everybody loved Henry. Everybody, playful, funny, silly guy. When he left the show, they announced to TV Guide to tell America that he was going to leave, fly back home and start a practice of his own, play with his grandkids, and that was going to be the storyline. They didn't tell any of the actors. They didn't tell anybody that when Radar walked in for that scene when they said that Blake's plane went down, nobody knew. Nobody. I think Alan Alda was the only one who knew. Radar didn't even know. He just read it off the script. That's why when he reads it, nobody says anything. Nobody had any lines. Nobody knew what to do.
Girl, Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. It spun in. There were no survivors.
They wanted a real reaction. You remember, he says it, and then the camera pans around the room, and I think Loretta Swit's even crying.
Yeah, I think so.
Nobody thought that was going to happen. And after they changed it and went with that, there were people picketing outside of CBS and calling the studio saying, "How could you kill Henry Blake?" It was.
Yeah.
Big controversy over it.
Yeah. It was there. And there are two scenes I remember vividly.
That was a big one.
Yeah, that one. Well, and two other ones. That one I definitely remember, the finale, the big kiss between Hawkeye and Hot Lips. But there was one episode where a guy came in, he was wounded, and he was going to die on Christmas, and Hawkeye, and I think it was Honeycutt, it might have been Trapper, worked to keep him alive until December 26th.
Wow.
So he could. I remember Hawkeye saying, "If this guy has a daughter, I don't want her little girl to remember that her daddy died on Christmas." And that got to me in years on.
That's what made it such a great show, though, Ted.
Yeah.
Marty, set up 3 units of plasma. What for? It's a waste of time.
Doctor, there's no point.
If we can delay it long enough, these kids won't have to think of Christmas as the day their daddy died.
And then there was one where Colonel Potter had a toast to his buddies, his last friend from World War I, and a group of 5 of them had been fighting in World War I, and the last one died, and he had this just magnificent toast to his buddies. And I watched that, and I get emotional now after everything I've done in my life and all that stuff.
You were the friends of my youth, my comrades through thick and thin, and everything in between. I drink to your memories.
It's just a show that resonates through time, man.
That is very well said. Super funny, but it had those moments that just got you emotionally.
The only show that could have you laughing, crying from laughing, and crying from emotion in a 30-minute episode. It was just a great show. And so many great bit characters too. Just a phenomenal show. So that was a show request from Dan Lee and Mary Fisk. Congratulations. Love talking about MASH. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll have more of those coming up in the future. So our jersey for tonight. Now, normally I go to you and say, "Hey, Drew, who do we have behind us tonight?" But tonight,
you have the jersey.
Tommy Kramer.
Yeah.
2-minute Tommy Kramer.
That's a signed jersey too. Look at that thing.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think it would be. I didn't expect it to be, I don't think, but he signed it. It was great.
Princess, look at Ted's face. Same look I have when they bring the McRib back right there.
Oh, I have this look on my face when they bring the McRib back too. Yeah.
Oh, now you love the McRib.
Love the McRib. Love it. Don't care. It's artificial everything. Love it. Eat 3 a day. I'm going to die of cancer. I'm going to have McRib cancer, and I don't care. Don't care. Love the McRib.
I'd be running like Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds to get to the McRib. If there was one McRib left, I'd be hauling ass for it.
I'm going to kill 100 people, but I'm going to have that McRib. I don't care.
Tommy Kramer.
I'll tell you what, Tommy Kramer, we've talked about Chuck Foreman and Alan Page and some of the guys, the Purple People Eaters. Kramer was drafted right at the very tail end of the Purple People Eaters era to replace Fran Tarkenton, which he eventually did. And Tommy Kramer was like the first. I mean, I loved the Vikings, but Tommy Kramer was the first guy I absolutely fangirled over.
This truly is a social document for our time.
Yeah, he was. It's a good way. It's a good way to put it. I was 12 years old. I thought when you're younger, you think Fran Tarkenton is going to play till you're old.
Yeah.
He's going to play till he's 100. You don't think of any other quarterback for the Vikings but Fran Tarkenton.
Mm-hmm.
So when this kid out of Rice came along, I was going, Jesus, this is going to be horrible. But he won me over, man.
He was the Brett Favre gunslinger attitude before Brett Favre. For those of you that didn't see Tommy Kramer play, he was the fearless guy that didn't give a hoot in the hell whether his guy was triple covered, quadruple covered. He was throwing it. And it might get intercepted. It might get completed. He might throw 4 picks, but by God, he was going to throw 5 touchdowns. That was Tommy Kramer.
I think if Tommy would have had Fran's players, I think he would have won a couple of those. I think he would have won that Steelers game, that Super Bowl. That one,
I think he might have, yeah.
Tarkenton played scared. Tommy had that gene of not being scared. And I think we lost that game because the whole offense played scared.
Yeah.
And Tommy Kramer didn't allow himself to play scared. He didn't play scared. And the players around him did. And as a fan, you become like, all right, I like this. This guy's fearless. And he was.
I remember in his rookie year, I believe it was 1977, the Vikings were losing 21-7 to the 49ers, and they put Kramer in late in the second half, late in the third quarter, early fourth quarter. And he brought the Vikings back, and they won that game 24-21. And I said, that's our quarterback. Once Fran goes, that's Tommy Kramer. That's the guy I want. And he had the Met Stadium miracle where they beat the Browns on the Hail Mary with Ahmad Rashad. He had, and like you said, he didn't have the team around him that Fran Tarkenton had. So he had, if you look at his career statistics, they're not as impressive as Fran Tarkenton. He battled injuries and he had, some health issues, but that I think shortened his career by 2 or 3 seasons. But man, Tommy Kramer, when there was 2 minutes left in the football game and the Vikings were going to score, there's a reason they called him 2-Minute Tommy.
He actually got that nickname in high school after a high school game.
Really?
And it kind of just carried over to Rice and then on to, at least that's what I heard. You might want to ask Tommy. Double back on what you just said. 19 comeback victories in his career, 15 in the fourth quarter. And let's give a shout out to the St. Louis Cardinals right now, because in 1977, they took a cat out of Missouri with the 19th overall selection in the first round named Steve Pisarkowicz.
Pisarcik?
No, it wasn't Joe Pisarcik.
Oh, Joe Pisarcik. No, okay.
Steve Pisarkowicz, 19th overall from Missouri, passed for 804 yards in his career.
Okay.
So he took him at 19. Tommy went at 29. Only 2 quarterbacks to go that year in the first round. So thank God they took him and left Kramer for us. There was 18 quarterbacks taken that year, Ted. If you take Steve DeBerg out of there, who had a great career, if you take Steve DeBerg's passing yards out of there, Tommy Kramer's 24,777 is more than the other 16 combined.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, great names like Sam Atkins, Mark Vitale, Mark Robinson, David Whitehurst, Randy Hedberg, Cliff Stout, Randy Dean, Fred Botana,
Stout,
Vince Ferragamo, Glenn Carano.
Vince Ferragamo was in that class?
Yeah, Vince Ferragamo, DeBerg, Kramer, and Vince Evans. Played like 30 years for the Bears and the Raiders. Those are the 4 guys.
Yeah, he did.
Guys, but 13 seasons with the Vikings, and you're right. He was second to Fran in everything, Viking-wise, in passing. But still, second is better than a kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
128 games, 159 touchdowns as a Viking. And like I said, people are going to argue. You can call the show right now because I'm going to tell you, that miracle at the Met was the greatest Vikings win in history.
Up until
no, I'm gonna still put it ahead of it, Ted.
Are you really?
I am.
Ahead of the Minneapolis Miracle.
Because the way it unfolded, I know there was more on the line with the playoff win with the Diggs catch.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man. Maybe it was because I still remember where I was when I was 15 years old. My brother's bagging on me. His friends making fun of me. You guys are going to lose to the Browns.
They're hoping. Tip, caught, touchdown. You're kidding. The Vikings, they win it. Time is run out. Minnesota, they are the champions. Ahmad Rashad.
For me, that was not bigger. I shouldn't use it. It was more exciting for me, that win. That's still number 1 on my list. Diggs,
and that's fine. I mean, you're a kid. When you're a kid, I think moments like that, I think could be more meaningful than when you get old and bitter and sarcastic like we do.
Am I old and bitter? I kind of am, aren't I?
A bitter person finds it impossible to speak peaceably with others in their family. The second characteristic of a bitter person is that they speak with barbed and cutting words, hurting others deeply.
One thing, now you lived in California back then with Kramer and all that, right? You didn't live in Minnesota?
No,
so
I was in San Diego.
Okay, so you didn't see like all the Tommy Kramer like post-game interviews a lot, did you?
No, I did not.
So the indelible image of Tommy Kramer for me I will love this until the day I die. And that was just part of the Kramer aura and swagger. Kramer would get in front of a TV camera at the end of the game, and he'd have a dip about this big in his mouth. And he'd have a little spit cup. Well, we just take what the defense gave us. And I'm like, I want to be that guy. I want to be Tommy Kramer. I try to have wear his number 19 when I was playing football in high school. I could have the practice jersey, but we had to have double digits of quarterbacks in Ohio. So I had to wear 19. I couldn't wear number 9. But I wanted to be Tommy Kramer. That was he was the coolest guy ever, man. It's Tommy Kramer, man. Whatever Tommy Kramer, if he wore no shirt and a cowboy hat, it was cool. If he wore a 3-piece, it was cool. If he had nothing but a towel wrapped around his waist, it was cool. He was Tommy Kramer, man.
You know what, Ted? That's how he played, though. The same way. He played with that same kind of gritty attitude, like middle finger. Remember that game at RFK? They lost 44-38 in '86.
Yes.
When he threw for 490 yards. I think it's still the Viking record. 4 touchdowns, 490 yards, man. He was just so intense in that game, but it was a different kind. It was like a fun intensity. That guy had fun when he played, man.
He did. When I say he was Brett Favre, before Brett Favre, he just played with this reckless abandon and always laughing and having a smile on his face and not a care in the world. And he played as well as anybody else in the game did at the time, I thought.
Absolutely a top-notch quarterback. Who has the most 300-yard games in Viking history?
Tommy Kramer.
Mm-hmm. Who has the most 3,000 plus passing yard seasons in Vikings history?
Tommy Kramer. Back in an era where it wasn't as pass quarterback friendly as it is now.
I no. It was way whole different animal, man. Whole different animal, but I would have loved to have been in the huddle with that guy.
Oh yeah. All right. So Tommy Kramer, our Jersey player tribute of the week.
2 minutes.
Well, it's just I was hoping maybe we could become the new Cardiac Kids.
I think the title has changed hands.
Speaking of Tommy Kramer and first round picks, Drew, I don't know if you remember, but we did a couple of shows. We did a live show for the first round of draft, and we did a live draft recap.
We did it live?
We'll do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live.
Now a few days, and now Drew and I are on this Vikings fan page on Facebook called the Gallahorn, and in that fan page, Drew, you asked a question a couple days after the draft, after we could absorb who the Vikings picked and kind of analyze it. What was that question you asked? It was for Chuck Noll, I believe.
Chuck Noll, the 4-time Super Bowl winning head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, remember, if you don't remember Chuck Noll, you don't really follow football that closely. But Chuck Noll, after he retired, said he basically had, and there's a lot more to it than this, but the bare bones of what he said was, if you have a good quarterback, 2 good tackles, a better than average running back, and 2 good wide receivers, and I think he might have thrown center in there too. You have to have a good center. There's no reason you shouldn't be a top 3 offense in football. 2 tackles, quarterback, 2 wide receivers, and a star running back.
Okay.
Top 3. And on the defensive side, you have to have a good defensive line straight across the board, not just the defensive ends. All 4 of those guys have to be studs. You got to have a great middle linebacker, 1 great corner, and 1 great safety. And there's no reason you shouldn't have a top 3 defense in football. That was his basic criteria on each side of the ball. So it made me start thinking, and I want to ask the question to you and everybody out there, do the Vikings now have that? If you need to go through the roster and the positions and everything, do that in your head. And do we have that? I'll ask you, Ted.
Okay, so 2 great tackles. Do we have 2 great tackles? I think we have a very good one in Brian O'Neill. And it's far too early to say, assuming Christian Darrisaw is going to be the starting left tackle. He's a rookie. He could be great. He could be another Matt Khalil. We just don't know. We hope he'll be great. So for the 2 tackles question right now, I'm going to say no.
Okay.
But the potential is there. I will say the potential is there. Do we have 2 great wide receivers? Yes. Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Okay.
I will say yes.
Write that down. Yes on that.
Great quarterback.
There's the pause. You hear that, Toonses? Toonses, you can almost hear that pause by Ted Glover. You can audibly hear it.
He's very good. Is he great? He has had moments of greatness. Is he consistently great?
I would have to vote no.
I would say no. He's above average. I would take him over more quarterbacks in the NFL than I wouldn't take him over right now. But I don't think I can sit here and say he's great.
Okay, so we'll mark that as a no.
And running back, was it a better than average run? Yes, the Vikings have a great running back in Dalvin Cook. Great defensive line all the way across the board? No. I think it's going to be better than last year, just simply for the fact it couldn't be any worse, but no. Middle linebacker, great middle linebacker. Yes, I would say Eric Hendricks is great. Yes.
Okay.
One great cornerback? No.
Okay.
One great safety? Yes, and Harrison Smith. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm going to go, again, 2 of the 4.
So we got 2 positions on each side of the ball that meet the no myriad of criteria. Oh, I just want to use that word tonight.
Okay.
I learned it today. Myriad. I think it's pretty cool.
We're running out of time. Everything is collapsing. You're being irrational and counterproductive.
Big words anger me.
What about you?
I agree. Right along the board with that. That's how I have it all written down almost exactly how you said it. See?
Wow.
See?
Wow.
Drew and Ted.
Wow.
Flat.
We are copacetic.
Nerd. 2 new words today. Yeah, I was. That's how I look at it right now.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then: Does this draft class, in your opinion, is it going to help the Vikings meet these goals on the positions we're saying aren't at that top level to be a top 3 unit?
Well, I think we're right there at hitting the criteria for the tackles. I have complete 100% faith in Darrisaw that he's not going to be a flop. I do.
Okay.
And I rarely say that I'm a big, skeptical. You got to prove it to me and all that. You know me. How long you know me, Ted? You know me. I don't just go out in a willy-nilly limb. But I believe in Darrisaw right across the board. Offensively, I think that's about the only area that's, that we needed to get great at to reach this criteria. Maybe quarterback, but Mond is a whole different story for a whole different. Oh yeah, today is Monday.
Oh, look at you!
See that?
Monday, da da.
Monday, so good to me.
Monday. We record on Monday. We drafted Kellen Mond.
Stop it. We need to stop with that. It's bad. And so overall, though, I think we're pretty happy with the Minnesota Vikings draft class, right?
Positionally, I think they hit it. The only thing I would have done differently in a whole draft is I wouldn't have taken the tight end. I would have took a safety right there.
Okay.
But other than that, positionally, I think A++ for Spielman, how he took the position draft from a position standpoint, I think was perfect. So
now he took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys in this draft. 11 guys. And Vikings fans are all radio gaga about this draft class. Oh, Twyman's going to the Hall of Fame. Bynum's going to start for 10 years. Darrisaw's just put him in Canton now. Everybody loves the draft. I get it.
You know, it's funny, Ted. If you look at all the draft grades on TV and NFL Network and ESPN, everybody got a B. Every team. I mean, you know what? In 2 years, there's going to be 50% of them were D's and F's. But right now, A-. I give them an A-. Everybody's got an A-.
I want to talk about that because everybody goes top to bottom on this draft class, and this guy's going to start in a year or 2. This guy's going to be 2. Mond's going to the Hall of Fame. Darrisaw's a day 1 starter. He can start there for 10 years.
Oh, no! Oh, he didn't say it.
So I want to go back. I want to start at 2015 because out of those 11 guys in about 4 years, if 2 of those guys are still on the roster or are significant players for the team, then it'll be a successful draft. And I want to start at 2015. Here was the 2015 Minnesota Vikings draft class. Drew, you ready?
Hit it.
First round pick, Trey Waynes. Second round pick, Eric Kendricks. Third round, Daniil Hunter. Fourth round pick, TJ Clemmings. Fifth round picks, Michael Pruitt and Stephon Diggs. Sixth round picks, Tyrus Thompson and BJ DeBose. Seventh round picks, Austin Shepard and Cuckoo Kachu, Mr. Edmund Robinson. Here's to you, Mr. Robinson. Football loves you more than you will know.
This is Robinson. Jesus loves you more than you will know.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where have you gone, Mr. Robinson?
It never ends, man. I love it.
10 guys picked in that draft. Waynes, Kendricks, Hunter, and Diggs.
Yeah.
This is considered by just about everybody Rick Spielman's best draft.
It probably is.
He got Trey Waynes, who started for 5 years, and had they not had, I think they would have kept him if they didn't have salary cap issues. Kendricks is a stud. Daniil Hunter's a stud. Stephon Diggs is a stud. Unfortunately, he's in Buffalo now. That is Mr. Spielman's opus. And it is rare that 4 guys turn out to be a rock solid starter or an all-pro of that caliber of those guys.
Really good draft.
Yeah. Now let's go to the 2016 draft, shall we? Mr. Bunting? Laquan Treadwell's your first-round pick. Mackenzie Alexander, second-round pick. Willie Beavers is in the third round. I'm sorry, fourth round. They didn't have a third-round pick. Willie Beavers. Kentrell Brothers, the Mobo Show. Moritz Behringer was a sixth-round pick. David Morgan was a sixth-round pick. Moritz Behringer, the Mobo guy, the German dude. And then Stephen Weatherly and J-Ron Curse in the seventh round. Laquan Treadwell, complete bust. Mackenzie Alexander, I would say, is a pretty good player.
It's more than a bust if he's a bust in the first round. That's a bust. That triple bust right there.
Yeah. I mean, Stephen Weatherly and J-Ron Curse were 2 seventh-round guys that stuck around. Weatherly's back. J-Ron Curse was fairly productive. But when your shining example out of that draft is probably Mackenzie Alexander, and he was a second-round guy.
Yeah, that was a poor draft.
Let's go to 2017 now, shall we? Dalvin Cook. And they had no first-round pick because, remember, they traded that pick for Sam Bradford the previous year. So second-round pick, Dalvin Cook, Pat Elflein in the third round, Jaleel Johnson and Ben Gedeon in the fourth round, wide receiver Rodney Adams and guard Danny Isadora in the fifth round, Bucky Hodges in the sixth, and then 4 seventh-round picks, Stacey Coley, Ifedi Adenabo, Elijah Lee, and Jack Tachko.
Jack Toko?
Oh, no, sir. Ho.
Clear Jerome.
Ho, yes.
Ho, what?
Ho, nothing.
You having trouble understanding me, Jerome?
Ho, no. I mean, no ho, Sergeant.
That is a poor draft again.
Again, Dalvin Cook. Gedeon was okay for a couple years, but he's gone. Elflein, I hate to say it, but he was a wash.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That's a bust.
Dalvin Cook is it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 guys. Dalvin Cook's it. Now let's move to 2018, shall we? Mike Hughes, career highlight, first game of his career, with a pick 6, and then has been injured ever since for the most part.
Yeah, Mike Hughes.
Brian O'Neill, I think, very good pick. Hope to extend him and keep him on the line for another 10 years. Then fourth-round pick, Jalen Holmes. Fifth-round pick, Tyler Conklin. Daniel Carlson, who lasted all of 1 game and then went on to become like the best kicker in the AFC. Right. Colby Gossett, Adeana, and Devontae Downs. 1 player in that class,
That's
Brian
terrible,
O'Neill.
Dude.
So we're looking at like 1 or 2 guys. 2019. Let's look at 2019. I think it's still kind of early to judge these guys because, Garrett Bradbury, I don't know about him yet. He's not been very good.
2021 is going to tell whether he's right on the what's the word, fringe or something?
Right on the edge.
Myriad?
The
Right on the myriad.
precipice.
Right on
the precipice. We have a plethora of big words this evening, don't we?
We do. We have a plethora.
But yeah, Bradbury, I can still go either way on. He hasn't been very good, but you know, people that defend Bradbury say he hasn't had very good support on either side of him, and I would agree.
Matt Burke, great center that he was.
Yeah.
I heard Matt Burke in an interview saying you need to give 3 full seasons to a center. 3.
Okay.
So I'm going to give him this season. We'll see what can happen.
Okay. Irv Smith Jr., I think, has been a pretty good pick, if underutilized, but I think we'll learn a lot about Irv Smith Jr. this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Alexander Madison, 3rd round pick that year. Pretty decent running back. From there, we've got Drew Samia in the 4th round, Cameron Smith in the 5th round, and then a bunch of 6th and 7th round guys. Armin Watts, Marcus Epps, Oli Udo, Chris Boyd, Dylan Mitchell, Olabisi Johnson, and Austin Cutting, long snapper from the Air Force Academy. I mean, I consider Olabisi Johnson kind of a hit because he was a 7th round pick and he's still around.
Yeah, this is for all those guys you just mentioned. This will be a big year to see if they wash out or not.
I mean, potentially you could have 3 good players out of this draft. I think when it's all said, maybe 4, depending on what Olabisi Johnson does in camp this year. But if Bradbury could still pan out, you've got something. I think Irv Smith can still pan out. And then Madison, I think, is for a 3rd round guy has done pretty well already.
I think Madison has done everything that they've asked him to do. He just couldn't get that 1 yard in Seattle. But if your game shouldn't come down to one play like that.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't. And then last year's draft, which I think is far too early to tell. Still, I think Justin Jefferson's going to be good. Jeff Gladney's probably going to jail. Ezra Cleveland was drafted as a tackle, but he's going to be our long-term guard for the next 10 years.
Cut his mic, man. Cut it.
Cam Dantzler, DJ Wanham, James Lynch, Troy Dye, Harrison Hand, KJ Osborne, Blake Brandel, Josh Metellus, Kenny Willekes, Nate Stanley, Brian Cole, and Kyle Hinton.
KJ Osborne. It's like a big giant pussy pimple on my rear end. Get KJ Osborne the hell out of. Get him out of. He's never going to return another punt. That's part of why they got Marset and that other.
Yeah.
Everybody Wang Chung tonight. He can run back kicks too, so we'll see. KJ Osborne, those guys that do nothing for it, and get them out.
I'm done. Get out. Get out.
But I mean, for those of you that are just over the moon on this Vikings draft, and I'll agree with you, Drew, that positionally, the Vikings got great players at every position they needed to get good collegiate players at. Now, can they turn that talent into NFL caliber talent, and can they be long-term starters? That always is obviously based on these draft classes, the big question with this team and with this staff.
I mean, the Vikings, they got a lot of people, and they have problems in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. 5 of the 11 guys drafted were trench guys.
Yeah.
So I think they at least identified that we suck on the defense. We suck in those areas, and we need to get better. Davis and Darisaw right off the bat, man. If those guys work out, the O-line is jumping up tremendously.
And I'll throw Patrick Jones in there as well on the defensive line. If he can come in right away and produce a defensive end with Darisaw and Davis, the Vikings are going to be in a lot better place than they were this time last year.
That all depends on Hunter. Without Hunter on that line, the Vikings got a lot of problems. They got a big problem on their hands. I don't care how many guys you drafted. You don't have that guy, that's your catalyst to your whole defense. He's the best player on your defense. He's probably the best player besides Justin Jefferson on this team.
Yeah, I'd agree. Without him, the defense is just another defense.
Nobody's going to be Wang Chunging if we don't have Daniil Hunter.
All right. So with the assumption that there's maybe 2 or at the most 3 players that hang on long term, the 2 or 3 best players from the 2021 Minnesota Vikings draft in 4 years will be who, Drew Bunting?
Christian Darisaw, Wyatt Davis, and Jalen Twyman. I gotta say, dude.
Really?
I think he's gonna be the 3 technique from hell. The 3 technique. Yeah, I think so.
Really
I think
so?
he'll be on
What the hell is that?
All right.
And I also think Surratt's going to be around.
Okay. I think the first two guys, I agree with you on one of them. I don't know if it's going to be Darisaw. I don't know if it's going to be Davis, but only one of those guys is going to pan out.
Okay.
Um,
More than fair. That's more than fair.
And if I'm going to go off menu after that, I'm going to go with Amir Smith-Marset because I think the Vikings really need wide receiver help. I think he'll find a spot as a kick returner, and then work his way into the lineup because you can't look me in the eye and tell me Smith-Marset is worse than Chad Beebe and BC Johnson. Yeah, because I don't believe you. You're lying to me if you tell me that. You're lying. You're lying or you're misinformed.
Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
I don't think, and if you watch that guy in interviews or anything,
yeah,
I don't think he's worried about it either. That guy's kind of cocky, but a good confidence, kind of cocky.
And then the last guy I'm going to go with is Patrick Jones. I think he's going to be pretty good.
So you're for Jones, Marset.
I've got either Darisaw or Davis.
Okay.
Amir Smith-Marset and Patrick Jones.
Okay. Cool.
Now, neither one of us picked Kellen Mond. Neither one of us did. Why did you not pick Kellen Mond?
I think it's just it's more just playing the percentages right now. That guy's got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go. And what I will say about Kellen Mond is that people say, well, he's got a whole year to learn and everything. This is going to be a big year for Kellen Mond, how he carries himself. If he's sleeping in the meetings, doing the Dougie at practice, dicking around, being a dork.
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks.
Not paying attention. All these guys that you see on the Vikings, a lot of them are going to be here when Mond takes over, and he's going to take over. Right now is when he needs to start establishing himself as a leader.
Yeah.
So when that year comes around, they could say, wow, this Kellen Mond guy was the first guy to practice, last guy to leave, extra video time. He worked with the quarterbacks. We'll be able to watch this year and see how far he comes. It's such a long shot. Probably because I'm thinking the Vikings destroy quarterbacks. That's kind of where I'm. And I hate saying that. I mean, Mond has a chance to be really special, but there's so many variables lined up in front of him, so many obstacles, and it's going to be. I'm just playing percentages right now. I don't know.
We showed this tweet a while back, but something only like there have been over 60 quarterbacks taken within 15 picks of where Mond was, and I think only 2 of them have gone on to full-time starter jobs. So history is against him. Recent trends are against him, and yeah, what kind of development will he get under Clint Kubiak? Now, we don't know, honestly. Clint Kubiak could be the next Sean McVay. For all we know, he's just never had that opportunity before. Of course, he could be the next, Bob Schnelker too. I mean, I don't know. It just sort of depends.
You know, when I said, maybe I didn't specify this right. I'm not necessarily saying mine wouldn't work out. It might not even be because of something he's doing. It might be the Vikings ruining him.
Yes.
Because it's got to be handled the right way. He has trouble with the speed of the game. He has trouble with his deep accuracy. He's never taken a snap under center. The guy needs a lot of work. And if it's not worked with the right people and the right scheme and the right ideas and taking their time and doing it the right way in the classroom and studying up and reading defenses, they're going to ruin him. So I'm not necessarily saying Kellen Mond won't work out because of Kellen Mond. I'm saying he might not work out because of this franchise. There's still a disconnect in this franchise. And let's be honest, what can you say about them developing quarterbacks? Come on.
And I hope that if Kellen Mond, I don't want Kirk Cousins to get hurt. I'm not saying that. I don't. I think Kirk Cousins gives the Minnesota Vikings the best chance to win. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. But if he gets hurt, I hope that if Mond plays, they don't try and do a square peg in a round hole.
Well, I suggest you gentlemen invent a way to put a square peg in a round hole.
Here's something we can keep an eye on. And you're going to keep an eye on this during the games. When there's 2 or 3 minutes left, we're down by 5 and we need a score, and they call timeout and Cousins comes to the sidelines, if Mond is sitting on the bench with a towel on his head talking to some guy about what club they're going to go to, if Mond's in that little huddle talking about in the game, in the intense part of the game, 2 minutes left, he's right in the mix with Kirk Cousins and Zimmer and Kubiak, and they're trying to figure out what play to run, and the intensity's running high.
Now, I have heard he is that guy. I have not heard any like bad attitude type stuff like you heard about Manziel and Dwayne Haskins a couple years ago. By all accounts, from what I've read, Mond is very much a football junkie kid, and I hope Kirk Cousins will embrace his role as a mentor. So that kind of is sort of the bow on the Minnesota Vikings draft for us. The Vikings were not the only team that drafted, however. All 31 other teams drafted, and we're going to take a quick look. We're going to go around the NFC North, and we're going to sort of discuss the drafts of the Packers, the Bears, and the Detroit Lions. Drew, which team do you want to start with?
I'm going to start with the one that's going to be fighting with us for the NFC North title, and that's the Detroit Lions.
The Detroit Lions, you say?
Wait, what's that?
What the hell did you just say?
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
Shut your pie hole!
Shut up!
Shut up.
Kindly shut your noise hole. Shut up!
Shut up.
Honestly, I think something just landed on the roof. It might be a meteor or something. I'm telling you, Ted, the Detroit Lions are building something there. Brad Holmes, the GM, Anthony Lynn, my favorite coordinator in football. I actually wanted him to take over the head coaching position for the Vikings, Anthony Lynn. They now have on their offensive line Taylor Decker, first-round pick, the great Frank Ragnow from Arkansas, who I wanted to be a Viking, but he went 5 picks before our selection. He's a first-round pick at center. Yep. And they just got Penei Sewell, who's the best tackle. They got 3 first-rounders there on the offensive line. They're going to be tough to stop offensively, even with Goff in there, even with Goff.
Real quick, we'll show you the Lions draft class. They got Sewell in the first round, Levi Onwuzurike, I believe it's pronounced, Alim McNeil in the 3rd round.
The guy we previewed on our show.
We did, yeah.
Alim
we
McNeil
did.
Wanted him for the Vikings.
Afetu Melifonwu in the 3rd round as well.
One of the best corners in this draft.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver in the 4th.
We did a thing on him too.
We did. And then 2 guys whose names I can pronounce with about 99% confidence, Derek Barnes and Jermar Jefferson in the 4th, and then they didn't pick again until the 7th round.
Every player on the Lions and every player on the Browns were from the Drew draft boards.
Yeah. And Amon-Ra St. Brown was a guy I was kind of hoping the Vikings would take a look at because he is the brother to the other oddly named St. Brown, Equimenius, wide receiver for the Packers. I think the Lions did pretty good.
Lions did great. You know the biggest addition to the Lions?
Dan Campbell, head coach.
We're going to kick you in the teeth. We're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
No.
It's
a guy named Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. Chris Spielman is orchestrating this whole thing.
When you combine that with the trait that Dan Campbell looks for in players in biting off kneecaps of opponents when they're coming up off the ground, they're going to be a very formidable team in the coming years.
You know about Chris Spielman. The guy's no nonsense, Ted.
He is no nonsense.
He played for your school.
Yeah, he did. He was awesome. He is probably one of my 2 or 3 favorite all-time Ohio State players. I love Chris Spielman.
He was chewing kneecaps off when Dan Campbell was wearing a party hat. Come on.
With a neck roll. Spielman with a neck roll, baby.
Yeah, with that neck roll, dude. But he is no nonsense. They had a good draft, and I think they're – and, we say that about the Lions a lot. Yeah, it's the Lions. This is the year. I think they've turned it – I think this is different. I wish we had that Spielman as GM.
It wasn't a sexy draft by the Lions, but you know how you build a good football team? It's you start from the lines and you work your way out. And the first 3 picks that the Lions had were offensive line, defensive, let's see, Onwuzurike is, they say defensive line. I don't know if he's a tackle or an end. And then McNeil, defensive tackle. So
they're both they're bulking up the center of that defensive line. Both those guys are 2 of the guys from my Drew draft board that we talked about in Vikings Report.
Yeah.
They just made their defensive line. What they just went Chuck Noll, the thing we just had in the show.
Yep.
With Penei Sewell and those 2 guys.
So Lions, you're pretty high on the Lions draft. Who do you want to talk about next? The Bears?
Talk about the Bears. Go ahead, get it out of the way. The trade up.
Here's the thing with the Bears draft. This draft will just like the Mitchell Trubisky draft for them 5 years ago or whatever it was. This draft completely falls on how well Justin Fields pans out. If he turns out to be a good quarterback, it doesn't matter what the Bears gave up to get him.
No, it doesn't.
It won't matter. If he's a bust like Trubisky was, it's going to set the franchise back another 5 years, and they're going to be in the same spot 5 years from today as they were on draft night when they moved up from 20, I think it was, to 8 or 10, whatever it was, to get Fields. I'm surprised they were, but I tip my cap to their aggressiveness. I mean, they knew they absolutely had to handle the quarterback situation, and the Red Rifle ain't it.
Our goal was to come out here and make the Red Rifle look like a Red Ryder BB gun.
What did you say?
The Red Rifle looked like a Red Ryder BB gun.
That's what I thought you said.
Andy Dalton is he just ain't it. He's not. So for good or for ill, they went all in and said, we are gambling everything on Justin Fields. And if he pans out, it will be a great trade for 20 years.
I hope he goes Haskins. I hope he ends up like Haskins.
If I want him to be good, unless I don't. I mean, I'm so torn now. I'm so torn now.
Come on, Ted. He's a Chicago Bear. You don't want him to do good. What are you talking about?
I love the guy. I love the kid. I just.
Tombstone.
I don't know, but again,
that's all done, Ted. It's over. Ohio State is done.
I turned my back on him.
Fail now. Fail.
I turned my back on him.
You have to. You can't. You can't hope that the Bears have any success with him, Ted.
No, I know. I'll be in the right state mentally come training camp. But right now,
I know.
Right now, it's still like my girlfriend left me, and I'm still all mopey and feeling sorry for myself.
I had to watch Jake Ryan and then Rashawn Gary go to that stinky, smelly P town.
Yeah.
So I know.
But Fields wasn't the only aggressive move they made either. In the second round, they moved up a whole bunch and grabbed offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins, which I think they moved up even farther to get Jenkins than they did to move up to get Fields.
That's a no-miss pick right there. I love that guy.
The Bears didn't pick again until the 5th round.
Really?
Yeah, because they traded all their picks to get Fields and Jenkins.
Right.
But after that, they got Larry Borum, Khalil Herbert, Daz Newsome, I think was a great pick in the 6th round. Thomas Graham Jr. and then Kyrus Tonga. So this draft for the Bears is going to hinge on Fields, plain and simple.
Absolutely. I think the Bears are still a 5-12 team.
Do you really?
They're going to finish. They're going to sweep the basement. They're going to be in last place, NFC North.
Where do you think Justin Fields will be in 3 years? Good, average, or bad?
I think he'll be on the Vikings. winning Super Bowls, and I'm going to watch you with the big grin on your face. I like Fields. I think he's going to make it in this league because he's been a big pressure quarterback ever since high school. Big pressure games, big pressure guy. It doesn't get to him, and he's got that shit. I saw a documentary on Justin Fields, and by the end of it, me and Ruby were saying that's a great attitude to have. Nothing phases him. I think he's going to make it. I think he needs to get out of there, though. I don't think he's going to make it with them.
Okay. And then finally, that team from Wisconsin. I kind of didn't understand a lot of what they did in this draft. I mean, remember we talked on draft night, the whole Rodgers news broke about him wanting out, not ever coming back.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to draft cornerback Eric Stokes, Josh Myers, got Amari Rodgers, a wide receiver in the 3rd round, Royce Newman, Tadarius Slayton, Shamar Jean Charles, Cole Van Lanen, Isaiah McDuffie, and Kylan Hill. I just not a draft that really seemed to address a lot of what the Packers' needs were, I thought.
I don't know. They didn't really. I thought Stokes was kind of a reach. They seem to like to draft corners there. I mean, they're big on that, huh?
And they've got a pretty good secondary already, I thought, but whatever.
I didn't look at their draft, which means I didn't prepare for this segment.
Honestly, come on, I'm not prepared. I really am not prepared at all.
Which means that's why I work here, right? No, I can't stand looking at their logo or anything that has to do with that team. So I have a hard time studying their draft.
Well, I'll tell you a story about some sorry old folks way up Wisconsin way. Yeah, they're all a bunch of boozers, man, they're all a bunch of losers. Yeah, I'm talking about old Green Bay. And I'm telling you, son, there ain't nothing sadder than the boys in the yellow and green. In fact, they're kind of bringing a whole new meaning to being on the special teams.
Is Rodgers going to quarterback that team this year? That's what the fans want to know watching the show right now. They won't. Tell me, Ted. You tell us.
I think Rodgers is going to play. What about you?
I've kind of thought that all along. I think the team from Wisconsin is kind of calling his bluff. I think they're kind of saying, well, you're probably right. We're probably going to suck. We're not going to win the division or even make the playoffs if you're not here. But after this season, I think he's the quarterback there. I think something's going to – we're still in May? There's a long way to go.
Yeah. All right, so that's our review of the NFC North draft classes. So we are going to hit a commercial, and then we will come back with trivia.
I love trivia, even though I lose.
I've always hoped that someday they'd have a Bob Lurtzmer Day. Like they have for all the superstars. Well, it finally came true. I may not be a superstar, but I'm a super saver at TCF. I sure like the help I get from those Twin City Federal folks. So thank you, TCF, for helping me save and making Bob Lurtzmer Day possible. At least you'd think my wife and kids would show up.
Perfect sleeper. Perfect sleeper. Perfect sleeper by Serta.
Hi, I'm Joey Heatherton. Serta's Perfect Sleeper mattress is something great to sleep on. It gives you firmness and comfort. It's the perfect combination. You'll love it. Now, instead of counting sheep, you can count on a good sleep. Be a perfect sleeper. Buy a perfect sleeper. Perfect sleeper. Buy a Serta. Woo!
Welcome to Toonses Trivia. How you guys doing?
Hey, Toonses.
Hello, Toonses.
Hello, Toonses.
So you guys have heard all the Tim Tebow stuff going on today, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So I'd like to take you back a few years, and I have a really good Tebow joke I want to tell you.
All right.
Let's hear it.
All right. What were the football fans thinking as the Denver Broncos beat the Minnesota Vikings? What were the fans thinking when the Broncos beat the Vikings? And this is a Tim Tebow joke.
We're really drunk? Is that what they were thinking? I don't know.
What?
If Tim Tebow had a deep thought, would it be called a Christian ponder?
That was really
that was a good one.
Thank you.
So today, this looks like a Jeopardy board, but because Drew does not want to put anything in the form of a question, this is just a regular trivia game.
Okay.
Well, there's Drew changing the format again.
So there is one thing. Drew has claimed that Ted reads faster than he does. So I will accept answers after I'm done reading.
No answers until after you're done reading.
That is correct. All right. Who
That's
wants
okay.
to be Banana Head and who wants to be the Watermelon Head?
I want to be the banana head.
I want to be the watermelon.
All right. Banana
Because
Head.
I'm seedy?
Oh, God. Here we go.
I'll be the banana head because I peel when I burn.
Oh, with that joke, you're going to have to split.
All right. So,
Who goes
Banana
first?
Head.
All right, let's go with Shawshank for $100. Chiquita.
All right. Before becoming a movie, The Shawshank Redemption was a novella by which author?
Stephen King.
Good job.
I was going to say Harry Potter. That probably would have been wrong, though.
100 for you.
I don't think I'm going to do
Banana. All right.
Shawshank for 200.
What does Red call Andy when he first sees him get off the bus?
It's a term for the new guy. I can't remember off the top of my head.
A tall drink of water.
That's right.
All right,
Shit, that was
Ted.
my chance.
Banana.
Shawshank for 300.
Peel when I burn.
When Red goes in for his first parole hearing, what do they stamp on the piece of paper?
Denied.
Rejected.
Oh, Drew stole it. Rejected.
Look at the
300 for
melon.
Drew.
Mr.
All right.
Melon. Maybe
One-
kickbacks and payoffs are how you do business, but it's not part of the legitimate business world. I'll go Shawshank for 400.
What?
Thornton Mellon. You never saw Back to School? Mr. Mellon. Oh,
All right.
forget it. Come on, guys.
Who is on the second girly poster that Andy hangs in his prison cell?
Jane Mansfield.
No, it's I think it is. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Marilyn Monroe, guys.
No.
All right, Watermelon Head.
Mr. Melonhead would like to go 500 because I have a rind. What?
Okay, what does Andy give to Red as a gift after being rejected for parole?
Cigarettes.
I know that. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I know.
I'm shocked that Ted hasn't swept this whole thing.
I can't remember. Oh, that's right.
Oh.
A harmonica.
So stupid.
All right, Watermelon Head, still your turn.
1970s television shows.
All right, on Happy Days, what was the name of Richie and Joni's older brother?
Chuck.
Good job. 100 points. Your turn.
70s television shows for 200, Toonses.
Before she was Alice, Linda Lavin played a detective on which show?
Murder, She Wrote.
Police Story.
Barney Miller.
That's right.
Oh,
Damn
she
it.
did, didn't she? That's
We
right.
had Barney Miller on
Yep.
Vikings Report.
Sure did.
So your turn, Watermelon Head.
70s TV shows.
What was Captain Kangaroo's farmer's name?
Mr. Green Jeans.
Mr. Green Jeans.
Ted was first. 300 for Ted.
400 for television shows.
Stupid banana.
What was the last name of the nosy neighbor Gladys from Bewitched?
Kravitz.
Good job, Drew.
Wow, good job.
400. All right. you
Watermelon.
choose.
Same thing. Let's finish out that category, Ted.
This Norman Lear production was based on the British program Till Death Do Us Part.
All in the
All in
family.
the family.
Ted got in there first.
What?
That's
We're not
what
going
she
to review
said.
that? We're not. Well, since,
All right.
since he nailed that.
That's also what she said. Who wore that number? $100.
All right.
43.
43. Of course,
Okay, I
she
named
didn't even
it
say
wrong. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I didn't
get
say
it.
anything. Plus, I named the category wrong. It's going to be what number did I wear?
43. Nate Wright.
Yes. I believe.
What?
Did
I
you
got
say
it.
it first? Did you?
No, Drew said it.
Come
Oh, he
on,
did?
man.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Jeez.
Sorry. All right. Go ahead.
Same thing. Who wore that number?
What number did I wear?
69.
69. He said, I'm waiting for you to say the name. This is not fair. This is so not fair.
Dude. What? They show the name and you guess the number.
No, he's right. I'm screwing this whole thing up.
Okay.
Okay,
I
ready?
Yeah.
Are you gonna show the number or the name?
You have to wait for me to say who it is.
Okay.
It's going to be the name, though.
What?
Ed Marinero.
49.
Good job.
400.
Ron Yeri.
73.
I won that
Holy
one.
cow.
I won
You
that
didn't
one.
win that one.
I won that one.
What?
That was me.
Wow.
I have no idea, so I'm going to give you both 200, and then I'm going to look at it later.
Oh, come on.
I can't tell. And I can't rewind.
All right.
Here we go. Stu Voigt.
83.
83. Drew got that one.
All right.
Look at this battle, dude. It's 1800 to 1400 going to the last category.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't even remember what the answers were to this, so both of you can take a guess.
What round was I drafted in, Ted?
Yes, for 100.
Right.
Ed McDaniel.
Second round.
Third round.
Fifth round.
Wow,
holy crap! What a value.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, for 200.
Yeah.
Matt Burt.
Sixth round.
Banana Skizzy.
All right, 300. Jim Klein-Saucer.
Second round.
Second round. Ah! Ted reads them faster. I got to get this one.
Chris Hovan.
First round.
That's correct. All right.
Oh my God! It all comes down to this.
All right.
Comes down to this is the best battle we've ever had, Ted Glover.
Yeah.
500. Ready, Drew?
Uh-huh.
Kyle Rudolph.
Second round.
First round.
Second round. Yes! Yes!
Give me your wagers.
You know what I'm wagering, honey?
All of it?
I all or nothing. I'm all about going big or going home. I'm going. There's my wager. 22.
$23.99. Okay.
I should do that and get $1 out of the deal. Oh,
Okay.
Ted's doing the $23.99, so you can get $1.
All right, here you go. How many Vikings draft picks chosen in the year 1990 forward have made it into the Hall of Fame? All right, Drew, since you're behind, let me see your answer first.
The only one I could come up with is Randy Moss. I went with one.
That is correct.
That's what I had.
Yeah!
Team Banana won.
Oh, I thought I had him. All the way down to the last question and all the way down to Final Jeopardy on this one. Wow.
That was good. That
All
was
right,
good.
thanks for playing, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Tootses.
Thanks, Tootses, for doing that. I know you put a lot of work into those trivias, and
Yeah.
plus you have to deal with our loudness, so I really appreciate it. Man, that was a good game. We fought that one all the way to the end.
That was good. That was good. All right. I think that about puts a bow on tonight's episode. Again, thank you everybody who was watching, who watched us on draft night. We had, I think, 63. We had 63 people and 300 entries for our Justin Jefferson jersey giveaway. We've got more contests and drawings coming up in the future. And as we figure out how and when we're going to roll them out, we'll let you guys know. So be on the lookout for that in the future. Subscribers still keep going up. We're close to 4,000 now, which I still blows my mind. We're getting like 1,000 a month. It's just nuts to me that so many people are subscribing and watching and commenting, and both on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page and our Twitter account. If you're on Twitter, it's at Report Ted, REPORTTED. Facebook, Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. YouTube, obviously, Vikings Report with Drew and Ted. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you enjoy tonight's show, and Drew, take us home.
That's very well said, Smitty. Thanks, Tootses, for doing the trivia. Thank you to Tommy Kramer for being on our show in spirit. Love you, man. Remember, we have Vikings Uncensored on Friday night with Lance and Rhino doing the Viking Uncensored show. Great show. Really enjoy watching that. Want to give them a plug tonight.
Yeah, those guys are really working hard trying to make a go of it. So give them a watch and give them a shout out.
Thanks to MASH. Moving into second place for our all-time episode list. Thanks again. We'll try to do better the next time. Say good night, Ted.
Good night, Ted.